I am Shalini Vadhera, and I am the CEO and founder of a number of makeup brands and companies. And I create all kinds of products that you see in Sephora and Ulta and in the stores.
What does it mean to be a chief executive officer?
That means that I am in charge of every aspect of my business. And it's a really important job. It's the very top position in a company. So whether it's selling it to a store or making the product or hiring my team, as the chief executive officer, I oversee every single thing in my company and make sure that we're operating in the right way and we're hitting our goals and we're creating products that our customers want. So that's what a chief executive officer is. And I am considered a founder and a CEO, you guys, because I actually created my company and now I am also the CEO.
Did you find what product or idea you would love to work with?
I always loved watching my mom put on her makeup. And then when I would go on an airplane and I'd see the flight attendants and they were so glamorous, and I just loved everything beauty. And so I started, my first business was writing the book Passport to Beauty, where I traveled the entire world and I found out what girls and women were doing in different countries to look and feel beautiful. So that book has everything in there, like all kinds of beauty secrets you can do in your kitchens. And that book really inspired me to create my brands like Passport to Beauty, where I took a lot of those secrets in a lab and I created products. And Ready, Set, Jet's the new brand, and this based on really letting people go out there and transform themselves through travel. So you can take them apart. And then we added so many products in one. What we did is we took 3 or 4 products. We made all of these products go into one product. When you get off the plane or when you get to your meeting, you can be like, oh, I want to look a little bit more made up. I'm just going to put this on really fast and I'm done. And I didn't need to have a big, huge purse and bag full of products. So that's the Ready, Set, Jet product.
How do you go from an idea to a product?
So I'm sure like a lot of you guys have great ideas, right? And maybe it's an idea inspired by something that's missing in your life. So after I thought of this idea, then I knew it was time to work in a lab or get to a chemist and see how I could create these products in real life. I started to talk to people. I got to meet with big labs. I got to work with a chemist. So that's where we start to blend ingredients, and I start working with chemists where I ask them, what ingredients from this part of the world are going to do this, this, and this for this. And then from there, then you start meeting with companies that make packaging. So you ask, can I meet companies? And you look at packaging and you're like, do I want to put it in a stick? Do I want to put it in a tube? Do I want to put it in a bottle? And you decide what packaging you want for your product, okay? And then you have to see if the packaging's even gonna work with the formula. So here's a funny story, guys. One time I was working with a lab and they made a really nice scrub for the shower and they put it in a tube and they forgot to test the tube to see if it would work. So in the shower, I put my new sample of my scrub, and the next day I woke up and the whole tube had exploded and there was scrub all over my ceiling and on my walls. And I was like, oh my gosh, because the texture of the tube didn't work with the texture of the product and it just exploded the tubes. And then I was able to put these together, and then I had to find a warehouse to store these in while I was also finding my customers at the same time. And do something you guys love, because then it's so much more fun and easy.
How do you find people that can help you?
A couple things you could do is go on Instagram or go on Pinterest or go on Fig and Wally, and all your friends that are on Fig and Wally, you could be like, hey, does anyone know how to do this? Or let's say you want to do a lemonade stand, right? You could reach out to all your Fig and Wally's friends and be like, hey, does anyone know how to make lemonade? And then maybe one of you is like, I'm the best lemonade maker in the world. You're like, great, I'm going to put you in charge of making the lemonade. And then you could be like, hey, does someone have a table that I could use to set up the stand? And maybe it's another one of your friends at Fig and Wally, and they're like, I have this great table and we can decorate it. So then you put them in charge of how the product's gonna look, right? And then maybe you need someone to help you figure out how you're gonna how much does that lemonade cost? Is it going to be 50 cents? Is it going to be $1? Is it going to be $2? Are you going to add a brownie and make it $4? So then you need like maybe someone to help you with that. And now you've put your team together and you've done it with people that you feel friendly with, that are easy to work with, and that can help you build your product.
How do you find your customers?
Let's say whoever was the designer of your lemonade stand also knows the people that are at the lemonade stand at Whole Foods or at Ralph. So you're like, hey, do you think we could do a lemonade stand at the grocery store? And that's how you start to create partnerships. So I reached out through my network. I just approached the retailers directly. And I said, look, I've made this incredible product. I think it would be great for your store. And I'd like to have a meeting. So then you get to go to these headquarters and have meetings. And your meetings are always about showing them the products. Let's say one lemonade stand that you were doing in your neighborhood was just yellow lemonade. But at Target, you're like, they've got 6 yellow lemonades. How do we make ours different? You make yours pink, right? Or red or purple or whatever. Make it fun. Maybe you could put some mint in there and you make it like a little bit different tasting. So we could go to Amazon and Walmart and Target and to our customers on Instagram and on our own website and say, hey, we're bringing something different that we think you're going to love. And 9 times out of 10, they all love it.
What skills do you require to talk to big companies?
The one thing, you guys, is you can't give up, right? Because you're going to hear a lot of no, 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 no. I like to take the no's as like a contest. It's like, oh my gosh, okay, how many no's are going to get me to a yes? So persistence, determination, and having like a really like almost like a bullseye focus on the goal. Let's say you want to get your lemonade into Whole Foods. Maybe you don't go to Whole Foods first. Maybe you go to Sprouts or you go to another store and they're like, nope, sorry. And then you get some feedback. Well, what don't you like about it? What's different about it? And you don't get your feelings don't get hurt if they're like, oh, it tastes horrible. You're like, okay, then let me go back and maybe make a different recipe of lemonade. So then by the time you get to Whole Foods, it's so good, they're going to be like, we love it, let's take it. So persistence, so never giving up, determination, knowing that you're going to get to your end goal, and then also just being brave and like not being scared to reach out to people. It takes a lot of courage and a lot of bravery to just be able to call anyone and say, hi, I'm so-and-so, I'd like to meet with you.
Were you confident as a kid?
I had to learn. You guys, I got really bullied in school. I was really bullied in elementary school and in junior high and high school. So I really had to learn how to become confident. I was scared to speak publicly and to speak to people. But the more you do it, the more comfortable you become and the more confident you become. And so even when things are really uncomfortable, know that when you're able to push through that, it makes you much stronger and more confident. And that's how I had to learn to do it.
How do you get the money to fund all of this?
Funding can mean a lot of different things, right? You can start with your own savings. I've done that before. You can sell the labs or your manufacturers on your vision and see if they'll help you and not charge you for samples and development. You can fundraise with investors, and you can also do crowdfunding. We just did a crowdfunding where we let anyone invest in our company to help us build this. So you could go to your friends and be like, hey, I'm going to do this. You know, do you want to invest in my company, or can I borrow some money and I'll pay you back? Or you could go to your parents, or you can go to a bank, or you can go to professional investors. It depends on what you are the most comfortable with at the beginning, and then how you continue to build it to the next level.
Can you tell us how to market and sell something?
Marketing and selling is a full-time job. So anywhere that you can go on and be your own walking billboard for your product is going to help you sell your product. So for me, because I was already doing a lot of television and appearing on shows like Dr. Oz and The Doctors and, you know, the Today Show, I would go on TV and do these fun segments with all these hosts on all these different beauty secrets. And then, you know, through that, I was able to talk about my product. Instagram's another one. You know, you've got to go out there and show people what you're doing. Facebook, TikTok's obviously huge for marketing products, Pinterest. So always, marketing is something you have to do every single day. There was a saying that said, every day that you're not out there sharing your product, you're invisible. Always have to figure out ways to market and get out there, whether it's partnerships with other people, appearing on national TV shows, getting in the magazines, meeting bloggers, working with influencers. There's just so many different touch points to how people can learn about your products.
How did you become an influencer?
Let's say your friends are like, how do you make cookies? So anything that you feel that you are really talented in, sharing that with the world and being consistent with sharing it, like every day you post or every 2 days you post, or maybe you go on YouTube and you're like, every Thursday I'm going to talk to you about how to do this. That's how you become an influencer.
What is the training that you need to build a business?
You don't have to go to college because a lot of it you learn as you build. But I do recommend going to college because for some reason, let's say your business doesn't work out and you need to get a job. It's important for you to have your degree. That's something no one can ever take away from you, right? Somebody could take your business or take your idea, but they can't take your degree. And two, I personally learned so much in college on entrepreneur. I took entrepreneurship and marketing, and my degree was in international business. So that's why I'm able to know how to do certain things working with, different countries around the world, in entrepreneurship, in marketing, how to write a business plan.
What inspired you to do all of this?
So when I was 8, I knew I wanted to do something in makeup because I love makeup so much. But when I was 19 and I had just started college, my dad was like, hey, guess what? You're going to be an entrepreneur. And I was like, oh, I really don't want to be an entrepreneur. I was really scared, you guys, but I didn't want to let my dad down. So my dad gave me a plane ticket to India and some money. And he said, go start your business. I cried on that plane ride all the way to India because I was so scared. But when I landed in India, my uncles were like, you have to start a business. What do you want to do? So at that point, I was reading all these cool fashion magazines like Marie Claire and Allure and Vogue. And, so I was like, let me do fashion. So I met with some designers. I bought some fabric and I made these really pretty silk coats. And then my uncles were making sweaters. So I lived in San Diego with all these surfers and golfers. So I'm like, let me make a couple surf sweaters, golf shirts, and take it back. So I made all my samples. I flew back to San Diego. And then I was like, okay, now what do I do? So then I called a couple like surf photographers and brands that I had known through my friends, and they ended up buying my product. And that's what put me in business and started my entrepreneurial journey. And I actually got my silk coats into Nordstrom, you guys, at 19. I literally called the store nearest to where I lived, and I'm like, can you please connect me to the buyer that would buy my silk coats? And they did. And then I had a meeting and I went in there and I presented my collection, and they're like, these are really pretty. And they gave me a purchase order.
Do you have to deal with failure?
You guys, I deal with failure every single day. So every day, even though I'm the CEO and this is like my third brand, I still have to learn something new. So I don't even look at it as failure anymore. I look at it as just, I'm in school, but I'm in business school and I'm learning new things. So for instance, I told you about the tube exploding in the bathroom of the scrub. So that was a massive failure because that was going to go on the shelves of a lot of different retail stores. So could you imagine if my customers had bought that and the scrub started exploding all over their showers and bathrooms? It would be horrible. I would be, oh my God. So I had to go in and we had to deliver that product in 2 weeks, you guys. So when you're creating new products, it takes almost an entire year to do it. So to have to quickly redo all of that is really where you have a good team in place that can help you. So we had to change all of our packaging, and we actually put it in a jar. We didn't even put it in a tube because we didn't want it to explode, and we wanted that lid to close really tight so that scrub wasn't going anywhere.
Can you leave us with some inspirational thoughts?
So my last piece of inspiration, you guys, is to really find something that you love and do what you love, because when you do what you love, it never feels like work. It feels amazing. And you live your entire life being inspired. And that is really the best, most exciting way to live. And, and also don't be afraid to ask for help. It's okay if you need help. Just ask people for help. You'll be surprised how many people are so excited to help you.